We would like to felicitate the panel members and, of course, the moderator. Can we start with the moderator? May I request our head of the department, Professor Chakraborty, to do the honors. The moderator of this session. Mr. Partha Sarathi Chatterjee. Flowers for him. And one by one, Mr. Sagar Sen from Coal India Limited. And Mr. A.S. Sahney, Chief General Manager, IOCL. Mr. Sahney. Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay, representing Haldia Petrochemicals Limited as the Executive Vice President. Senior Vice President, Haldia Petrochemicals Limited. Mr. Ahindra Bera, Group Lead, Technology Center of Excellence. And we are done. It is over to Mr. Partha Sarathi Chatterjee.
That's fine. I have collar mic also. So good afternoon, everybody here. It's an incredible honor to be part of this centenary celebration of Jadavpur University Chemical Engineering Department. It is also a privilege to moderate these distinguished panel members, to be in the same dais and participate in this panel discussion. As you all know, the theme of the panel discussion in this session is recent trends in chemical industries and expectations from young engineers. So the format what we will follow is that I will give you the context why this is so important today, and then I will open up the discussion and request an opening question to all the panel members, and that question will be common, and then we will go into the deeper discussion specific to the each panel members. I hope it is okay with the panel members. So, it is not the strongest that survive, not the most intelligent, the one who is most responsive to change, they survive. It is not my words. These words of wisdom are from Charles Darwin. Now, what is that change what we are talking about today? Change is, as we all know, the cliche statement is change is constant, So what is so special about change now? Many of you must be aware of a trendy acronym, VUCA. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. That is the best way to define today's world, right? Also, I must say, other than being that cynical, it is one of that opportune moment where we have energy transition, technological advancement, digitalization, and huge opportunity in material sciences through nanotechnology, etc. So that's the perspective where we are talking about recent trends in chemical industry and engineering, and how to cope up with that kind of future readiness, what is required for the chemical engineers of today's, so that success is paved in their way, right? So that's the context. Now let me open up one by one, maybe from Mr. Sen, that side, that what in this context, when we talk about, we have seen recently the COVID, energy transition. Mr. Sen, I mean, we can, oh, is it, no, mic is there? No, I have a, is it working? No, yeah, I mean, you can be comfortable there. Yeah.
Hello.
Can you give me?
Thank you, Partha, for setting the context for the panel discussion. At the outset, to Bangla Bolini, I am an alma mater of another very old institute, Gangar Oidike, Bengal Engineering College. Kolkatar ছেলেরা ওই শিবপুর যাদবপুরে ছড়িয়ে যেত, lot of memories of coming to Jadavpur campus and enjoying the warmth. So congratulations to the chemical engineering department for this centenary celebration. Coming to this context which Partha has set, so I work in a company called Coal India Limited, which is world's largest coal mining company. We are shortly touching 700 million tons of production maybe a day after. And the second company in the race, which is Shenhua of China, is about 300 million tons short of us. So that is how much we are ahead in the lead as an Indian company being the largest in the world. Now, being in coal sector, one very important question which Partha has raised is how sustainable we can be in this situation. So coal is something, as you understand, is facing a challenge. And in Coal India, we are fully aware of the sustainable changes, sustainable endurance of any business. So what we intend to do is, and which is very relevant for the chemical engineers who are sitting here, we have to make cleaner use of coal. Cleaner use of coal, alternate use of coal, combine coal usage with carbon capture, utilization and storage. That's one part of the story. Now, what has happened, which is a very important note one need to take from the COVID crisis and the current geopolitical situation, is the energy value chain has to be indigenous. Look at situations in UK, they didn't have the gas to run their power. Whereas in India, during the entire COVID, Coal India being supplying about 43% of the energy needs of the country, continued to supply coal. The railway joined hand with Coal India. So along the entire COVID, you never faced any power cuts in the country for this entire period. Never was a crisis. Look into your neighbors, look into Europe, look into the other countries, you are much better off. So what's the learning? The learning is the energy value chain has to be indigenous, the supply value chain has to be indigenous. And external dependence on such things which can disrupt the supplies is a very big challenge. So that's number one. In that regard, we want to position coal as an alternate feedstock for the chemical industry. So what we are doing currently with crude natural gas, why don't we have a surface coal gasification route through which you replace natural gas as a feedstock by coal. So you can have coal-based methanol, you can have coal-based urea, you can have coal-based synthetic natural gas, which is methane, can be given to the city gas distribution. And on the second derivative, we can have dimethyl ether. On the third derivative, we can MTB, you can have olefins, so on and so forth. So coal, which is abundant in the country, 300 billion tons of indigenous reserve, can be monetized as a chemical feedstock instead of what we import. So that's one lesson. The second lesson is Partha very relevant, is this talk of energy transition. Now, your energy transition should be sustainable. Yes, you're talking of renewable, but how much the country produces the solar panels? You didn't. So whenever the Doklam episode happened, you put a ban on China, the entire solar industry comes to a standstill because you imported module from China. The entire polysilicon business is almost 60% to 80% in China. If you don't have polysilicon, you don't have ingots. If you don't have ingots, you don't have wafers, and you don't have cells and modules. So talk of an energy transition story where the indigenous capacity building is already in place. So what do I need to do? We need to acquire polysilicon, we need to have metallurgical silicon assets developed or acquired other part of the world as China is doing. You need to acquire critical mineral assets across the world because end of the day, renewable has to be backed by battery storage. So let's have lithium, let's have cobalt, let's have nickel, acquired outside, develop the mineral industry, have the raw material security, and then decide your energy transition strategy. These are the two major points I thought I'll put up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sen. I think we were talking about now how the shift is going to happen or has already started, right? So he talked about indigenization, that is energy security, alternate fuel or hybridization, and so on and so forth. So next in queue, Mr. Ahindra Bera from RIL. I wanted to ask similarly, what is the shift you are talking about is the predominant in your opinion, particularly in view of energy transition, COVID, post-COVID experience, the rebalancing of the geopolitical situation? What is your take?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Jadavpur University for arranging this program and giving me this opportunity. First, I will start with the COVID situations, how we have managed. And COVID situation, you understand that oxygen, medical grade oxygen, there is a crisis. And Reliance, we did this, and medical grade oxygens, we produced approximate 1,400 ton per day, and we supplied to the government of India. So we reduced our, we have total 10 gasifier, we reduced our throughput. So our priority, nation first, then our business. If people survive, then our business will continue to be survived. And mind it, this medical grade oxygen we produced, there was no refilling system, facility available. Within 25 days, 24/7, all of people work very hard to execute this facility. And we supplied 1,400 ton per day oxygen to government of India. Another is we have the Baroda PP4 units. We have retrofitted these units, repurposed this unit to make that medical grade, or special kind of PP which is used for the mask production. All this thing, even IP also. This is coming from my heart. That's why I wanted to say this. And one is very important in the COVID periods. We have started very famous now. It is 13 hours meeting where the Mukesh Ambani and HRM sir, including the senior leaders, almost 200 to 300 people, they are coming in 13 hours online meeting. So this is the critical situations of what we have done in the COVID situations. Now I'll be talking the few elements of the energy transitions. And those are that sustainability. There is a big question for the sustainability. All we talked about from yesterday and today also, sustainability, that area, we are working on that. And probably you may heard about that news that 10 billion investments that is already declared, and we are focusing 100 gigawatt gigafactory at Jamnagar, and Jamnagar and Kutch, and government of India, they have targeted the 500 gigawatt gigafactory, and out of that 100 will be produced from Reliance. And as you know, the Reliance refinery and petrochemical polyester and upstreams, that is well integrated. Similarly, the 100 gigawatt, this gigafactory will be well integrated to produce polysilicon from the sand, and then the ingot, wafer, then panel, and subsequently the 100 gigawatt is the target for the renewable solar energy. And it will be integrated further with electrolyzers that will produce the green hydrogen, and then battery storage, and then the hydrogen fuel cell. So these are the key point we would like to share from the Reliance point of view. Thank you very much.
So, thank you. So if you see already what is the shift happening in these two speakers mentioned, one is the energy security. There is a nationalist approach is also coming out, right? I think the young engineers must take away one of the approaches that is what we wanted to see tomorrow, Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? And that is where I think your call comes. This is a calling. Let's move on, Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay from HPL. What is your take, the shift in this regard, sir?
Thank you, Partha. And also thanks to the organizers for giving this opportunity. I think the way we have faced the COVID, and I would say that first of all, I am fully in agreement that what Partha told, that unless you change, it is very difficult to survive. So it is only end of the day, they will be surviving who are continuously changing and who are accepting the change and adopting the change. Now, COVID has really taught us in a big way to run our total business in a different way to sustain the business. We have seen many things in the commodity market which we have never seen in our life, I would say, because we have seen our feedstock is naphtha, from which we produce polyethylene and polypropylene and other chemicals. For the first time in my lifetime, I have seen that naphtha is selling lower than crude, and it continued for months. So under this type of situation, how to run a business? And it is commodity market totally went haywire, and we are continuously under challenge to meet with this commodity market. And not only the market numbers, it is also the logistics that became a big issue during this period. Whether it is internal domestic logistics to move the products, and also to continue with the production. So COVID has taught us a big way to how to keep our business running during this period. And the business cycle, which we have seen, there was a pattern earlier. So that pattern has almost got very much affected, I would say. Today there is hardly any pattern. In margin management has become so difficult in petrochemical front. So that every business manager is on his toe to manage the business. So that is the way we are facing it. And we are a single unit company. So that way our difficulty is to some extent, I would say, a little bit more than a diversified location companies. So both ways we got under big challenge. But the good thing is that we have faced this challenge very successfully, and we have managed the situation, and we are out of this now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay. I think audience noteworthy to take a record is that he talked about the pressure on cost. He talked about volatility related to commodity market. And most importantly, I think resilience, like he said, how to overcome in spite of these challenges, that is the shift I think we are more than ever experiencing. There are challenges, there are people who rose above and shown the resilience and gone ahead. Next, let me come to Mr. Sahney. What is your take, sir, for the shift?
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to the Chemical Engineering Department for their 100 years. Lot of respect and admiration for this achievement. Thank you. As most of the things the panelists have already covered, but my take would be that I'll put forward 3-4 points, and then those pointers can show what we are thinking and what we have done and what we are trying to do. This transition, that energy transition was in vogue even before the COVID struck, or that disruption struck the whole humanity. But some things what happened during that duration was that some of the issues which were on the platter, they got accelerated, or now we will be having a more concerned view on those particular things. One is like use of transportation fuel, which is our bread and butter. Like most of us sitting here, at least 3 of us, we are into this transportation business. So transportation fuel business, which got really affected when, to give an example, that before COVID it was around 95 to 98 million barrels per day was the world's requirement for petroleum products, and it shrunk to around 80, 82, 85. So more than around 12-15%, 10 to 15% different estimates, it got shrunk. And the most astonishing part is that the world is struggling to again reach to that level. Although COVID has come and gone, but the whole, that 95 million barrels per day of fuel or petroleum products, we are yet to achieve. The whole world is yet to achieve that. So where has that demand gone? So that has to be captured, like where that demand has gone. And it is more important for us when we are importing around, like now coming to India, we are importing around 85 to 86% of our crude requirements are being imported. So we are heavily dependent on them, and how to come out of it. Because with these kind of disruptions, everything has happened. The crude has gone up to $10 also, $5 also. Some people say that it has gone to negative also, but it has gone to those levels, and then it has gone to $100 per barrel also. So that is the kind of variation that has happened in last 2 years. And you have to survive in both the conditions. Right? India is a nation which is a very energy-hungry nation, which has got a very good middle class, which is the largest population in the world, 140 billion people we are there. So this energy needs have to be met somehow, and we can't, for all times to come, we can't be 85% dependent on crude imports to continue with it. So the actions that are being taken, they are being driven by government, and they are being assisted by companies like us. Like one of them is ethanol blending. That is a big thing that is happening, because total MS, like petrol, MS, I can talk to chemical engineers, so it is MS. So 10% of the MS requirement is being met by ethanol blending, and we have been given a target for 25 that we will be going up to 20% of all MS will be ethanol. So that is coming from our natural resources, that is coming from our biomass, that is coming from our waste food, that is coming from those distilleries, and that is coming from sugar and molasses and all those kind of base stocks. They are bringing in ethanol. We have taken some unique initiatives in this ethanol line. One of them is, if you have heard about the problem that Delhi used to face in winters with regard to smog that used to happen there, and that used to delay the flights also, and health problems also. So that was attributed primarily to the burning of the residual biomass in the areas of Haryana and Punjab and those areas. So we have put up a second generation 2G ethanol plant, which is taking up all this biomass from all those villages and all those fields, and then converting it to ethanol. So that is an initiative that has been taken, and very recently it was dedicated to nation by Prime Minister also. And once again, there is a third generation ethanol also that is again being set up at Panipat, and it is nearing completion. It has already been commissioned, so it has to be formally dedicated to nation very shortly. So therein what we are using off-gas that are coming from the furnaces, and through bio route, those are getting converted into ethanol. So these are the kind of initiatives that have to come from indigenous technologies and from our technologies, from technologies which are available in the world also, but we have to find our own solutions. So biomass, biogas, these are the situations these are the feeds which will give us independence from from the kind of dependency we have been facing, around 80-85% of crude oil being imported from outside. So that is what gives like PM also has, Honorable Prime Minister also has said on several occasions that this is what gives the whole circularity to the whole nation, because the agriculture people, the farmers, they get extra value for their money. The people who are making ethanol, they get value for their money, and ultimately the nation saves dollars when it comes to importing crude oil from there. So that has been accelerated, what I think, with these kind of interruptions. Thank you. Maybe we can take further.
Thank you, Mr. Sahney. Again, young engineers, please note that disruption is there and it will remain. But as Mr. Sahney said, that there is always a response, whether you call it in terms of government policy, whether industry coming up with a solution like alternate fuel, 2G, 3G. This kind of thing is something which is happening at a pace which we have never seen in our life. So that is where you are at the crossroad. Next set of questions which I would like to ask the panel members will be in the line of that, having said this kind of shifts happening, what are the things you should take away for your future readiness, right? So let me start with Mr. Sen again, that, you talked about the shifts and you heard others talking about many shifts, but there is a common thread. What we are talking about is that vast change which are happening at the unprecedented speed. What is your take, Mr. Sen, that what is your advice to these young chemical engineers, how to make themselves ready for future? Mr. Sen, please.
Thank you, Partha.
Yeah.
So I'll make this answer in three aspects. One, how can you contribute towards process efficiency and why it is important? Second, how can you help in reducing the carbon footprint? And third, how can you contribute towards circular economy? So let's come to process efficiency. Now, we come from a natural resource sector. And understandably, this sector has started 100, 150 years back. And as you know, as it happens, the best resources are always taken away at the first. So today, as far as coal mining is concerned, we have traversed almost 140 years. First being started, in the Raniganj coalfield by Prince Dwarkanath Tagore in 1887, and today we are in 2023. Even iron ore mining also has traversed along, even bauxite mining has traversed along. Now, what's the reality? So growing along, Coal India used to sell coal of average maybe 4,600, 4,700 some 10 years back. That average has now come to 4,000. Going down, we will have more dirtier coal to use, so it might go to even 3,800, 3,600. Earlier, bauxite resources used to be more than 44 to 45% of alumina content. That's getting reduced. Maybe you have to going in future, you have to look into bauxite resources less than 40%. Similarly, for iron ore, you have to look into resources which are much below, say 55 or 50%. So what's the challenge for you? The challenge is we need to come up with appropriate mineral beneficiation technology which can mine such low-grade ores or low-grade coal, but give the same kind of input cost to the industry even with the low-grade ore. So there's a lot of area, there's a lot of work which needs to be done in the mineral beneficiation area. That's point number one. Point number two, there are resources like copper, zinc, where the concentrate is some places less than 1%. In case of lithium hydroxide, lithium carbonate, which you get abroad, is about 6%. So again, mineral beneficiation will play a very vital role in getting the lithium carbonates or lithium hydroxides or the alumina concentrate, or the copper concentrate, or the zinc concentrate, which would be fed to the industry. So new technologies, innovative technologies should come up, because predominant technologies are from the Europe, where cost was not really a challenge. In India, cost is really a challenge, because we have to, end of the day, our main challenge is poverty alleviation. Still, we have a lot of people below the poverty line in the country. So with that focus, mineral beneficiation for chemical engineer will assume a very large role. My second point of attention to the process efficiency I would like to draw is in the part of coal gasification. Let us take the story of China. So China didn't have any coal gasification possibly in the 80s. And today they almost gasify about 300 million tons of coal per annum and produce about 250 million tons of products, predominantly methanol, ammonia, urea, dimethyl ether, so on and so forth. So what did they do? The initial technologies were Shell and GE. Then they indigenized them, their own universities, in their own institutes. And today, China have their own technology, which is adaptable to Chinese coal, and they do their own gasification. Similar story of coal gasification has to follow in India. We have brilliant chemical engineers here who will get out of your colleges. We have the industries waiting to take up these brilliant engineers. We have a lot of R&D centers. The PSU corporates support R&D projects. Please come up. Have a new ideas being built in coal gasification, where Indian coal, which is dirty coal of 40% ash predominantly, can be washed or can be gasified to give you a synthesis gas which is at par at that which is produced in Iran by using natural gas. Because why? All the products I will produce from coal, be it methanol, be it ammonia, be it urea, are all in the open general license. All can be imported. So unless I have a competitive cost, I have a competitive edge over the natural gas-based product, the product will not be competitive. So to make this story happen, I need chemical engineers who will come up with process-efficient processes in which coal-to-chemical business will be as competitive natural-based chemical business from the Gulf countries. Coming to CCUS, the main focus on reducing the carbon footprint. The focus in being how can we sequestrate the carbon dioxide or the other gases which come out from the industry and use them to make useful product. So carbon dioxide capturing is one very easy process in the coal gasification. You have an acid gas removal section from which you will get pure concentrated CO2 coming out. New oil has to come out. What combination reaction you need to do with this CO2 so that at the end of the day you have a beneficiating chemical downstream and no CO2 is vented in the atmosphere. Coming to the aspect of circular economy, the key word is waste to wealth. If circular economy has to be successful, then the waste has to convert it to wealth. Look into the last slag which comes out from mineral beneficiation. Look for the precious metals which is there. Can we have some extraction from there? How waste they can be recirculated? How's waste water can be recirculated in a plant so that the minimum effluent or zero discharge limit is achieved. So these are the few points I think I had in mind which I would share, which are a brilliant area for the chemical engineers to come up. Partha, that's from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Sagar Sen, for your advice to the young engineers related to process efficiency, CCUS with respect to reducing carbon footprint, and waste to wealth. These are the three areas his advice is to take forward as a young engineers to be focusing on other than the conventional chemical engineering principles what you are picking up anyway. Let's move on. I have to manage the time as well as a moderator, so I will request the next panel members, that is Ahindra, Bera, to cite one emerging technology which young engineers should concentrate to excel in future.
Thank you very much. I'll be covering the few points very quickly. I will not take much time.
Thank you.
Probably, young engineer, you may note that I will be covering only bullet points. So first point is the sustainability. Second point would be the decarbonizing and energy transition, and probably the under this the bullet point few areas you need to cover. Transition from the fossil to clean energy, decarbonize refining, decarbonize petrochemicals, target net zero or zero emission, Then third point is clean energy, renewable power, energy storage, low carbon hydrogen, CCUS already covered, bio, that CBG. Fourth point is decarbonized refining, COTC. Dr. Asit Das sir, he is my guru. He has covered yesterday briefly, bio and e-fuel. Fifth point is decarbonized petrochemicals, boost energy efficiency, electrifications of the chemical synthesis. Dr. Das yesterday, he has covered. Biopolymer, e-chemicals, fundamentals, primary energy from fossil to power. Past is not the good guide for us, for future. Now the age is innovation, new energy, breakthrough. Particularly for academic focus, electrochemistry and electrocatalysis, laser-based plasma processing, diffusions, science and membranes. I think morning Chiranjeev sir, he covered the membrane separation, advanced polymer for tomorrow, circularity for carbon and polymer. What are the industry challenges? This is the last point. Boost efficiency for the solar photovoltaic modules, develop cost-efficient, non-lithium based battery, slash the cost of the low carbon hydrogen, minimize use of rare earth material. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bera. I think it was indeed quite fast and rapid round of advice coming to all of you. Thank you. Let me shift slightly the question to a slightly adjacent area. You know, when you heard so many changes are happening and there are new areas coming, so obviously you need capex. And when the capex is allotted, the next thing to concentrate how the implementation can be faster, the implementation can comply the quality and as well as safety. Now, Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay is coming from an experience and wisdom where he has worked from the investor side and the project implementation side. So I wanted to ask Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay is that, you know, as a young chemical engineers, when they are talking about this project management skill, what are the areas they should pick up? If you have any advice, please. Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay.
Thank you, Partha. In fact, I will first of all congratulate the organizers for thinking of or considering such a time-relevant topic for discussion at this point. Because, you know, this sort of input coming from the industry to the young engineers who are just about to pass out or going into the professional life, it is going to immensely help these young engineers to shape up their professional life. I would definitely, as Partha has correctly told me, about half of my life has spent as a project process engineer, not all through engineer, but definitely graduated to business manager and all, but remained in the project field. So we have, I will take it in a way that you can, it is easier for the young engineers to connect what the type of challenges that is in front of you and how you cope up with that. Now this is an opportunity, is said as such, attending such talk and where you are getting a direct input from the industry where you are going to have your next life. And I would say that as you are passing out, young engineers are mainly, it is an abundance of energy and with a wide knowledge in various basic engineering things. And these things need to be further improved upon by learning various different skills to improve on the code competency. Now, you know that Partha has very correctly told that capex is one big way our country is expanding. We are already a 3 trillion economy and striving for achieving 5 trillion. And that is only possible by doing more and more capex in almost all the industry. Now coming to the process industry, where our interest is, we can see that all the refining and petrochemical industry, they are going for a big expansions. Today, the way petrochemical growth in India we are seeing, it is twice of global growth. Two times global growth in India, petrochemicals. And every 2 years, we should build one global size petrochemical plant. That is the way the country is going forward. And already 2 of the petrochemical plant is already under construction, and few are under planning, and very soon they also may be announced. Now, coming to the process engineer's role in project, I would say the first thing any process engineer they need to do is the process configuration of any project. Now, in doing that process configuration, you need to have a wide knowledge on the technologies available. And technology is one thing which our previous section we have discussed about the change. So technology is another thing where the change is coming in a big way. Every few years, new technologies are coming up, and it is continuously developing. I remember in 1970, for the Indian refinery, it was only distillation, coking, and catalytic reforming. These are the things which used to make a process configuration for a refinery. In 80, we got the fluidized catalytic cracking. In 90, we got the hydrocracking to produce more and more diesel. And in 2000, we got recit cracking to get the bottom of the barrel. And in 2020, we are talking of direct crude to chemicals, which yesterday I have talked. So this is the way technology is changing, and the process engineers who are coming out and who particularly looking for project career, they need to be very thorough about the global technology scenario and how they can be adopted to make a best process configuration for a particular project. One point comes into my mind is that in a academic scenario, mostly we learn about the technical features of the technologies and all, but we need to know the commercial features as well. Project people need to be a very thorough techno-commercial person. Unless the commercial viability of these technologies are proven, this is of no use. So when we talk of catalysis, etc., in college, we are happy to know the different types of catalysts, etc. But when we come to industry, it is more important to know the relative yield from those catalysts and their cost, etc., how they are going to influence the reaction so that we get the best for the business. So that is the change in mind shape and how the academic atmosphere and professional atmosphere will work. And to that extent, the young engineers, they have to adopt to this. So apart from this, you come to the financial modeling. That is very important for project engineers because all these technologies, configuration, etc., that need to be justified on financial numbers. Then only the business decisions can be taken. So there are various financial tools available for which I think young engineers, they should be trained. Right in the college itself, there should be opportunity to get trained on this so that they get employment ready when they are passing out from the college. Apart from this financial tools, I will also tell you to look for various project implementation tools like Primavera and MS project, which gives you, or your costing tools like Aspen suite, which gives you the idea of doing the cost estimation for a project. So these are the different skill sets which need to be practiced during the final years of the college, so that when you come out, you are fully ready for the industry to go. One more point comes to mind is that apart from this technical function requirement and all, behavioral traits for a project person is very important, because in project every day is a new day for project person, and success and failure is just the two sides of the coin. So you should be very much I would say emotionally stable so that no failure should touch you. There may be failure at times, but we have to see that how those failures can be taken as a learning, and with that learning only we go forward, going this thing in our future projects. And from learning comes another point to my mind is that there is another quality we need to inculcate in you. That is a learn, unlearn, and again learn. Unless you learn how to unlearn, you will not be able to learn new things. And there is a term called half-life of engineers. Half-life of engineers in Japanese, it is very commonly used word. It is the number of years by which whatever you are coming out from college, whatever your knowledge at that point of time, number of years by which that becomes outdated, that is your half-life of engineers. So unless you learn new things, you will not be continuing as a new person in the project and in the process. So learning new things is very important. So these are the few things which come to my mind, and I hope this will help the young engineers when they are coming out. Thank you.
Very true, Mr. Rabin Mukhopadhyay. I think learn, unlearn, relearn. When there's so much change happening, anything which you are well equipped, if you cling to that and you are not unlearning and taking the next one, you will be obsolete. So please remember that, my dear young engineers. I'm almost in the wrap-up session, but I know chemical engineers, without talking about AI, ML, sensors, remote inspection, digitalization, it will not be a cool thing, right? So my next panel member is Mr. Sahney, who has worked both in functional as well as developing, formulating robust strategy. I would request to throw some lights how these young engineers can pick up something, and what is that they should pick up more interestingly to have the application of digitalization in chemical engineering. Mr. Sahney, please.
Yeah, very interesting thought, I will say. But I want to start with a caveat that when we talk about machine learning, we want to talk about AI, and these are all very in things, as we call in youngsters' language. These are all in things. But the basic chemical engineering is not going away anywhere. So first of all, that basic chemical engineering has to be thorough. Everything else sets upon it. The basic foundation has to be the chemical engineering, and basic chemical engineering also is not good enough. We were fortunate when we passed out 25 years, 30 years back, we could manage with basic chemical engineering. And as we moved along in our careers, we learned some things, and that's why we are doing whatever we are doing right now. But with fast changing scenarios, with so much of competition, with so much of new things coming up, no expectations coming up, basic chemical engineering is not going to help. We have to have something extra. The technologies that are prevalent today in the industry, please understand, in your working life cycle, when you start working and you start working for 30, 35 years, for 3 decades at least you will work in the industry. In these 30 years, in these 3 decades, whatever technologies you will end up with, they have not been invented right now. Almost 40 to 50% of those technologies are not available in the market right now. So when you work for 3 decades, when you end up after 3 decades, those technologies that you will be working on, they are not there. And I'm talking about the basic chemical engineering only, not the AIs or the MLs only. So that is the biggest opportunity, I would say. That is the biggest headroom that you have. That we have to develop that inclinations to work towards R&D, to work towards development of new technologies, and all of these are all imported technologies that are there. So there is a headroom that we can, we can tell you that nowadays we can't crib that India doesn't give opportunities for R&D, India doesn't give opportunities for doing the basic research. No, it doesn't. India has enough resources now. It is not like 30 years back or 50 years back. Now we are there. Regarding coming to that topic that Mr. Partha has asked me to talk about is the new technologies that per se computer related or automation related, those technologies. Why do we need them? First of all, why do we need them? Because we need them to enhance efficiencies of the process. We need them to reduce the cost of production. We need them to optimize the capex that is being involved, the OPEX, the operating expenses that are there in the industry. We want to use them for reducing the wastages that are happening in the process. We want to use them for better troubleshooting. We want to use them for better problem-solving techniques. So we need these technologies, we need the help of these technologies, and mind you, these are only tools. They have to be used. They are not going to do your work. You have to do your work, but you can use these tools to do them quickly. You multiply their effects and to use them in an extensive manner. And then how we can do it? Artificial intelligence, we can take the best minds, we can take the best troubleshooters, we can take the best experts, and we can take their learnings and we can take their understanding of the process, their understanding of the system, and then put it into a system which is artificially intelligent, and it starts from those learnings and then it keeps on adding the learning that it does by itself on day-to-day basis, on the run, on the go. So it becomes more and more intelligent, it becomes more and more acclimatized to your system, and then you can use it as a tool for your troubleshooting, for your decision making, which are in regular nature, not the basic, not the high level decisions. The decisions that are to be regularly taken by people, those can be delegated to an artificial intelligence system. Similarly, the machine level learning, this is the decision making on the plant level, and then it is a machine level learning that also can be taught to a machine. Algorithms can be written, systems can be developed, wherein we can ask the machine to learn how it does the work, how it has been done in a better way, in the best way, once it has been done, and then we can put it into algorithm, and then we can allow it to keep on learning and how to do things, how to reduce wastages. So those are the things when we are talking about machine learning, and yes, they are going to be very useful when you go out, and it will be an added advantage to your CV whenever you go into the industry that yes, I have worked on artificial intelligence, I have worked on machine learning. Advanced sensors, they are also a tool. They are the third level tool because of those sensors, because of those data transfer, because of those networking, because of those neurals that are running around the system, you can't have artificial intelligence, you can't have machine learning. So these are the third level tools which come into play. Then there are advanced process controls, which is rudimentary. Advanced process control is everywhere right now. Then there are real-time optimizations, which are again sitting on advanced process controls. They are giving targets to the advanced process control to do the optimized process controls. So those kind of n number of things are there. We can have dynamic simulators which are there, which is a very good opportunity when you go out into the system, and then how to learn, how to, like sir has said, that how to unlearn. We learn some things in our books, in our chemical engineering, in our labs, but some of those things have to be unlearned also. we have to start afresh also, and then we have to understand also. So there, the simulators come into picture. Then coming to the commercial part of it, which Rabin sir has also touched upon, he has talked about the commercial part of it. I'll say that supply chain management is also a very big issue, which is helpful in the project implementation also, which Rabin sir was addressing, and otherwise also in products. When we go to supply chain management, the demand forecasting, the cost of capital kind of thing, the financial forecasting, the financial management, those things we find people are not ready when they come to when we came out of the college, we were also not ready, I should admit that. And when today's people also come out, they are well equipped with the chemical engineering issues, but they are not well equipped with those financial issues. So they have to start learning. We also did our learning, but it is better if you have the opportunity, if you have the time, if you have the resources, then you can brush up your economical thinking, because that is ultimately it is money. Ultimately it is rokda that is coming out of the system. So those kind of things, I suppose, will help the young engineers going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sahney. You know, I was always addressing young engineers and thinking some of us who are not young engineers. Actually, after this discussion, I think I should change the word. It is the youth. Some are youth by age, some are youth by mind. And in this panel, and also some of the first benchers are actually youth, still in youth in mind. So we all are youth. We are all benefited through this discussion. And I think going forward, I think one of the biggest takeaway which I wanted to mention, and as I started with another quote, I wanted to end also with another quote. Wisdom is not product of schooling, but lifelong attempt to acquire it. What you are learning in the schooling, it is not the end. Keep that creative mindset. We all are benefited through that, and I can assure you, if you keep that mindset, you will be benefited immensely. Thank you very much. I'm really out of time. Partha Sarathi Chatterjee, batch of 1992, chemical engineer, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you so much.